Hi everyone, today I want to take you through the journey of my car buying experience. And I was actually looking for a second car, and I would have loved to have two Teslas in my garage, especially a Model Y. Although I love my Tesla Model 3 and would have loved a Tesla Model Y, but I could not help but do some research and look for options which will help me to retain the electric lifestyle where I don't have to visit fuel stations. When we bought our Model 3, we initially wanted a Tesla Model Y, but unfortunately at that time, Tesla didn't release any information on when the Model Y is going to be available. Hence, we decided on buying the Model 3 at that time, and I couldn't be more happier because that decision was quite good financially, as well as we get to drive a Tesla for like 8 months. If we had to wait for Tesla Model Y, the interest rates have increased by then, and there was a imminent wait for 8 months. And the worst part is we didn't know when it's going to be released. But since we had an option to pick up a Model 3, we picked it up, and it was one of the best car buying decisions that we could make. And that was an easier decision compared to when I had to make a decision to buy the second car, because two things were happening when we bought our Model 3. First thing was like due to COVID, as well as the semiconductor shortage, most of the cars that were worth buying had a wait time of over 6 months or 12 months in fact. And we ordered our Model 3 in October and got the delivery of that in December. So we're quite happy to get a new car during those sort of scenarios and within the 2 months period. So that decision wasn't as research or time consuming as this one was, because there were a lot of considerations and a lot of other options available, which would mean that we need to maybe think of it more objectively rather than just following the urge to get two Teslas, because it would have been so easy. Because when you buy a Tesla, it's an ecosystem that you buy into. You don't have to adjust your seat, you don't have to relearn or a new system to drive, and that would have been a easier transition for sure. But financially it didn't make sense to spend $70,000 if we can evade and not have to buy it. And especially we don't plan to use both cars for long distances, so we can keep our Tesla Model 3 for longer drives and use the second car for like short daycare trips and things like that. Now, choosing a new car is a decision that I do not take lightly. I was looking for any options which are electric and plug-in hybrid to maximize the benefit that we get from FPT rebates through novated leasing. As a fan of Tesla and the tech it provides, Model Y was the first choice and it was on top of my radar. However, life has a way of throwing curveballs when you are deciding those things. I even considered a Mercedes GLC, but it's a big but. My mechanic friend dropped some knowledge on me about potential maintenance issues due to its mileage, and I couldn't be bothered now with a unknown certainty of whenever the maintenance cost's gonna be on your head. And that's one of the reasons I switched back to my search with a newer electric or plug-in hybrid. So when it came to plug-in hybrids, there were not too many options available. Like, you can buy a Mitsubishi Outlander, which suited our needs, but it was a bit expensive. I think the version that you would want to buy goes near 70,000, which would mean Model Y would have made more sense. So that was rejected because of that reason. And the other plug-in hybrid that's available in the market is a MG PHEV. And we liked the value it provides, because you can get a demo car for around 42, and you can buy a brand new through novated leasing around $45,000, which is a great value for the car. And the range it provided was around 60 kilometers in a single charge, just pure electric range for the plug-in, which would be suitable for most of our needs. But the problem with that was the new version of the PHEV and GHS was going to be released in 2024, which would mean you buy a new car, but it's getting old as soon as you bought it. So that sort of mindset was off-putting. And the other thing was the infotainment system was laggy when we had a look at it. But the interior space, the quality of the material that they've used wasn't bad, and it's a good option, to be honest. And the recent reviews I've seen from channels like CarSource or other reputed car reviewers in Australia, they said the same thing. It's not a bad option. It's under valued, and it could be something which we could have considered, and we plan to take a test drive of that. But the decision that we made actually came prior to that. The other car that we had our eyes on to try was a MG4. The MG4 was a solid contender. It had a lot of things that they offered, which was great. Like, it drove very well, had features like one pedal driving, indicator stalks on the left, no start or stop button, which would be similar to what we have in our Tesla. But there were a couple of issues, including the size of the car. It's not an SUV, it's a hatchback, which would mean it wouldn't suit our needs that we were looking for. And the other thing was the interior was too plain. Like, I know, coming from a Tesla, it's hard to sort of say that the interior of a car is important to us, but if you look at a Tesla, it still gives you that semi-premium vibe. But with MG4, especially because the plan was to save as much money as we can, and that would mean buying the cheapest option available, which was around 40,000 drive away. And it's not a bad option. Like, if you're looking for a car and you don't care about the sunroof or having a premium interior, then that's a perfect electric car for you. But for those reasons, we liked it a lot. But those reasons just took us to a rough patch, which was like, we might as well try something else. The other electric car that I tried was a BYD Atto 3. The BYD being still a new player in the game for Australia, it's not well known. The reputation of the car is not set yet. We don't know what to expect. But that's the beauty of this exploration and research. You got to look at options which are available. And since my vendor was preferably buying a electric or a PHEV, it was quite good for me to just go ahead and explore these new options in the market. I took a test drive of it, and it was the most funniest test drive I've been on, because the guy who took us on a test drive drove the car for half of the test drive, and he was showing us the features, and I'm sure he was a fairly new sales rep, and I understand his enthusiasm, but it was quite odd. And eventually I had to say, can I drive it? Because that's the thing I believe test drives are designed to do. Like, they should let you drive the car so you can get a feel of how it drives, not how you be a passenger in a test drive. But nonetheless, the drive of Atto 3 was not as bad as I thought it would be. Now, I won't lie, the interior of the BYD Atto 3 initially threw me off. It was different, almost alien compared to the sleekness of the Tesla Model 3. But the real revelation happened behind the wheel. The interface, although initially seemed a bit childish, proved to be surprisingly functional and user-friendly, especially the 360 cameras. It was quite easy to park and maneuver when going slow, and it sort of makes me feel that this is the only feature I wish the Teslas had. The best part was the build quality of the car was quite good, surprising. You can tell the build quality of the car is good by the way the door closes. The road noise of the car is less than what we have in our Tesla, so that sort of thing was quite good, and it gives you a sort of stable feeling, and it was comfortable. Because it's a small SUV, small to medium SUV, so it rode a bit higher than Tesla Model 3, which was one of our needs. But then it was around $52,000 drive away, and it was a good option, but we sort of didn't find it convincing enough at the time to decide on it. So eventually, we took a MG4 for a test drive. We drove a BYD Atto 3, and we were planning to drive a PHEV. And for that, we had to actually wait because during the week we were working, and weekends we just had Saturday, and for whatever reason it didn't happen, and we were not able to actually go ahead and take a test drive of that. But we found an amazing deal which we couldn't refuse, and we actually bought a car. So I currently have 2 cars, and I can tell you that it's a electric car. It's not a PHEV, and the deal that we got was good enough for us to just pull the trigger, and we just got 2 electric cars in the family now. So in the next video, I'll tell you the reason that we bought this new car and what our first impressions and experience have been so far. It's been with us for a week or so, and there's been some positives, some negatives, but that's for another video. This video has already been long enough. But if you're considering a new car, then there's heaps of options now available. So you don't have to sort of stick to one car manufacturer. And that's the story of me having to weigh everything against Tesla Model 3. Now stay tuned for the next video where I'll let you know if I found the deal on Tesla Model Y or did I pick up any other car. Until then, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.